Daily Take now. Let's welcome in Geraldo Rivera. And what is your take on this, all things Comey?
Hey,
now that we have the indictment, which I know yesterday you said you hope wouldn't happen.
It happened, and I am filled with dismay. But I want to back up a little, Connell, and say that, as an old saying for my youth, what goes around comes around. Comey is the punk people forget, but for whom Hillary Clinton would probably be president of the United States. He's the one that pursued her email investigation, private server, and all that. He broke news, a month before the election, then 2 weeks before the election, then days before the election. He definitely had an impact, But for this guy, Hillary Clinton might have been a two-term president. So I don't feel sorry for Comey at all. He really, he kind of set the stage for his own demise if that's what happens. I lament in the strongest terms. However I feel about James Comey personally, this indictment really makes the Justice Department seem just like just another political arm of the White House. It really seems, it seems like a mafia kind of thing. The boss telling the underlings, I want this guy to go down. But boss, these charges are kind of vague. And other people said we're not going to indict it. And then the boss says, they say you can indict a ham sandwich or indict this one. So a pox on both their houses there, Kyle.
No, I hear you. I mean, and I hear your earlier point, which makes the point that, hey, listen, there's a lot of people in Washington and elsewhere on both sides of the political aisle who aren't big Jim Comey fans. But when they look at this, they ask themselves legal questions. And that was why my last question to Zach was sort of, hey, are we missing something here? It was a very short indictment. Is there some other evidence that they presented other than what we just talked about? Because if there's not, Andy McCabe was the one, number 2 at FBI, that the Inspector General looked at and said, well, this is the guy who lacks candor because he leaked the story, supposedly, told Comey afterwards. Comey maybe didn't have a problem with it, allegedly, but wouldn't have authorized it if he was told after the fact.
But this is an intent crime. You'd have to intend to be misrepresenting. So what if, here's a quick scenario. Comey wants to get the story out. So he tells a friend who tells a friend who tells a friend who tells the Wall Street Journal. These are very, very nebulous kinds of fact patterns. Right. People rap all the time, and Washington is a place where they're constantly, hey, did you hear about that? Did you hear about this?
Yeah. Well, we know Comey did that with his professor friend. Remember that? He did that, and then they got the story out that way. So
definitely.
Different story, though.
That's the lie I thought they were talking about.
Right, not in question here, though, at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they didn't even come up. They're talking about McCabe. Now, McCabe, isn't he the CNN? He's a CNN commentator now.
He is.
He seems pretty credible. He seems pretty credible to me when he's on the air. Comey seems a bit more aloof. And not very likable, but I don't want to, just judge these 2 books by their covers. But the main point is also this, and I really think it's very important. President Trump cannot use the Justice Department as an extension of the White House. The Justice Department, through all my decades in this business, has strived to be and to project an image of independence. They're not the president's lawyer, they're the country's lawyer. And I really lament this because, remember, I was close to Trump in 2017 and 2018. Mm-hmm. We hated Comey in the Trump camp. He gave no good advice to the president. He stiffed him whenever he could. He was rude to the president. I really didn't like him and didn't trust him at all. I mean, I'm talking from a very personal point of view. And I thought that he tortured the president. And then with the Russia Collusion baloney, and that's the kindest pejorative I could use, Comey helped he was one of the architects of the biggest waste of time. Bill Maher still owes me $1,000 when I bet him on the air live that Russia would go nowhere, that there was nothing there. And he said, oh, yeah, you got Russians, going to be dictating American foreign policy, this and that and the other thing. Yeah. It turned out Russia was nothing. So I think that when you see, And when you see all of this mess, all of this, this putrid kind of politics, it's a pox on both their houses there, Connell.
You know, Geraldo, I'm just glad if you need us to take up a collection or anything, we will. I with $1,000, I think you hope you're all right if Bill doesn't get back to you in time for that thing. The other story
I'll take you up on that.
The other story I really wanted to talk to you about today was Gaza. I wanted to make sure we left time for that because, you know, obviously we've talked about it a lot. Netanyahu goes in the UN, they walked out on him. I don't think people were that surprised. That was, you know, with all that's been said about the Palestinian state and all that's going on in the war. And he made this defiant speech. But the president's comments today outside the White House before he went to the golf tournament about Gaza and, you know, a peace deal, that's interesting. Here's what Trump said.
I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal.
Okay. Two things. What do you think of that, what Trump is saying? I think we have a deal. I guess we'll see. And number two, what's being reported now in a number of places is that Tony Blair could be brought in to help out kind of as administrator in post-war Gaza. What do you think of that?
Well, on the first and most important question by far is, do they have a deal from the president's lips to God's ears? Let me just say it that way. Because I don't see how they could possibly have a deal. Tony Blair, I hold him in high regard. I think he'd be a good go-between. But I think that job, you know, how are you going to, you know, keep peace in Gaza? What's the police force going to be? What's the government going to be? When you bring in the Palestinian Authority, what happens to the remnants of Hamas? You know, are they going to fight again? Is Hamas going to win the popular vote in Gaza again, the way they did back in 2007, 2008? You know, I think Tony Blair is great. He's a good face. You know, former Prime Minister of the UK, well regarded. I don't remember him having particular expertise in this area, but as the head of state in the UK, I'm sure that he knows a lot more than I do. You know, what's the deal going to be? I just, and did anyone from Hamas indicate at all? I saw an interview with the Hamas guy, one of the survivors of the attack in Qatar, as saying that you know, you can't work around us. We are the government of Gaza. We are the elected representatives of Gaza. How can you make a deal without us? So you know, you can't have a deal when one of the key principal parties is so bent on sabotaging it. And just a quick note about Netanyahu, who really, you know, he was speaking. That really, as a Jewish American, I see the scene of Netanyahu speaking to the General Assembly and them all walking out on him.
Yeah.
Everybody, every country, you know, except for the United States and maybe Micronesia, you know, they walk out on him. He's a great speaker, a great orator, but, you know, he's certainly one of the most unpopular heads of state on earth, if not the most unpopular. You know, he can't land in certain countries and be arrested. He's like I said, he's very articulate, eloquent.
Very few friends, to your point. I don't even know if Trump would be one. I suppose he still would be, but even Trump seems frustrated with Netanyahu.
Well, I think the president has good reason to be. Netanyahu has really dug in. Some of the beating that he's inflicted on Gaza seems to me gratuitous. I don't know all the facts of the military situation, but to bomb buildings and you kill 3 kids and 4 babysitters to get one Hamas guy, the more it goes on, the more Israel is being held in ill repute. I just wish that Netanyahu, I hope the president has sway over him and can convince him to, you know, to stop it, to cease fire, release those hostages immediately, all at once, just like the president says. You know, have you know, the Israeli army, the IDF, ready to hand over the reins of control over Gaza to some international group that includes the Palestinian Authority. And, you know, you got to get this over. This is bad. Like my mullah says, this is bad for the Jews. This is bad for the prospects for Israel. And Netanyahu owes history a great deal of responsibility, seems to me, Connell.
Thank you, my friend, as always. We'll see you again next week. Thanks, Geraldo.
My pleasure, brother. That's my tie you got on there, brother.
Did I steal that from your office? We used to have offices next door to each other.
You stole that from my office, man. I was looking for that the other day.
I told your brother Craig, don't say anything to Geraldo. I just need a tie. The great Geraldo Rivera with us today. All right, we'll have more coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.